Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of a replay between Root QXC and Inflow Mini here on Lost Temple. Gonna go ahead and start this back up again. Marauders and Marines trying to fight back against an army of Zealots that are currently warping in. Archon has finished merging. Archon will be able to deal some damage, unable to get that last attack onto that medevac there. Army-wise, Inflow Mini now sitting on a larger army and significantly larger gas army. Production-wise, though, we see 6 Vikings currently being trained and 4 more Ghosts. So as soon as those units are trained, I believe it will even out the fight just a little bit, and the mothership on its way in order to do a mass recall. We'll be able to take down this missile turret pretty easily as the mothership is able to move and attack, and now in comes that recall, now dealing a lot of damage. In comes a scanner sweep, the scanner sweep revealing a lot of those Zealots, but this location will get taken down relatively quickly. So many command centers here, mass command center strategy by QXC as these units are continuing to move. We now see this massive scanner sweep and now feedback across so many of those units there. EMP shockwaves are revealing some of those stalkers, so those stalkers are currently being revealed so far. Marines and Marauders continuing to fight back and forth. There we do have one mothership in the air trying to hold on. Vikings now coming in. In comes more Storm as well. The mothership has been destroyed and now down to a 3,000 mineral army. Are these Zealots going to be able to do anything at all? Probably not. Marines and Marauders in a tight ball with no Storm nearby. Down go the rest of those Zealots. However, production-wise, we are now transitioning into carriers. So now we are now going to go into carriers, and with so many gateways online, you can see how fast Inflow Mini will be able to start producing additional units. I'm surprised that there is no chrono boost across these carriers, as these carriers need to arrive very, very quickly. Level 3 weapons upgrade now being researched as well for both sides. On the air units, another mothership now being trained once again. Not quite sure where it's going to land, and perhaps over here. So a mothership landing over here. There are not enough air units, so the QXC's army is not nearly mobile enough. With it not being mobile, it's going to have a very difficult time trying to make its way into this location. However, the medevacs do add mobility, so it's going to be a 5 medevac drop into this location here. The carriers are going to be coming online in just a second. However, they're rallied to the wrong location. Interceptors need to be trained up as Marauders and Marines are now joining in on this fight. There are a lot of Marines. No, it's only 5 Marines, so these units will be able to... another EMP shockwave once again. So this carrier training up interceptors does not have any more interceptors. Zealots now making their way over. However, another drop happening over here, and these gateways are going to get taken down. So it does look like that QXC has forgotten about that drop. Now trying to multitask between multiple drops. 5 medevacs here. I believe another, 3 medevacs here. So those Marines are going to be able to clean up, and in come these Ghosts. Ghosts are now going to drop a double nuke. Yeah, that is a double nuke into this location here. So I'm going to take down multiple gateways once again. And we now have the carriers trying to move out. The carriers sitting on a 169 army. A lot of these Stargates need to be chrono boosted. Not quite sure why they're not, as the nukes have landed, destroying many of those warp gates. Marines now trying to take down some of these nexuses over here. Full energy High Templar sleeping on the job, not even trying to take down any of those units. Colossus fighting back against massive number of Marines. However, level 3 weapons upgrade, 42 damage per swipe, dealing so much damage, and somehow Inflow Mini able to get back into this game. And now with carriers, you can see that after this production, the army size is just going to be completely different as another Nexus being built. Why would he need another Nexus anywhere? Not quite sure. Oh, is it another Nexus here? So yeah, there are still some minerals, now doing some long distance mining instead. So taking a look at the unit combinations, we are currently on 6 carriers with 4 more carriers being trained. So that is a lot of carriers now in the air. Vikings and Marines and Marauders on the ground. Ghosts as well moving out. Those Vikings have the level 3 weapons upgrade, no level 3 armor upgrade just quite yet. More refineries being built over here in order to get more gas as well, as QXC now only down to 8,000 minerals from an earlier high of 12,000 probes. Now on their way back over here. It looks as though this army wants to deal a lot of damage, but that is going to be very, very vulnerable to Storm. So we'll see how this all works out. We do have a fair amount of High Templars here. However, without the mothership in play, the mothership is going to be a very, very key critical unit in order to make sure that those High Templars stay cloaked. There are a lot of scanner sweeps, though, coming in from QXC. So QXC probably has command centers just rallied or hotkeyed very, very easily. In come the Vikings. Vikings now doing a lot of damage back and forth. Sorry about that. Storm now getting underneath all of those units. And now Inflow Mini dealing a massive amount of damage very, very easily as Marauders now trying to move out once again. In comes another mothership able to cloak many of those carriers. One of those carriers, however, getting a little bit too far and now Marauders and Marines just trying to fight back and forth. So many of these Archons dealing massive amounts of damage to this bio army, and now QXC once again in trouble trying to increase production on his Vikings. We now see Colossus coming back over here, going to be able to finish off many of these Marines and Marauders. Inflow Mini perhaps should give these Archons a little bit of a hiatus in their fight so that they can just completely recharge all of their shields. As those shields recharge, as those shields recharge, those Archons will just be able to have full energy, or sorry, full life. And now we also see Phoenixes coming in. So Phoenixes coming in order to deal with those Vikings. Phoenixes have significantly more hit points than Vikings. So, and also fire much more quickly and are able to move and attack. So it will be very easy for those Phoenixes to perhaps focus down and take down those Vikings, especially since those Vikings do not have any armor. On top of that, the Phoenixes have 3 shields. So those 3 shields covering ground army and air army units really going to be benefiting those Phoenixes, reducing the amount of damage that those Vikings deal from 28 damage. And now Inflow Mini out saying, you out yet? No, so both sides are just talking about the sheer army size that both of them have, 7,850 versus 7,200. That planetary fortress just absolutely large. We now see a couple Vikings on the, a couple ghosts on the ground and a fleet of Vikings in the air looking for some Phoenix blood and just try to take down that mothership. That mothership does not have enough for a vortex in order to try to split up that army, but if QXC is as good of a player as I think he is, he's just gonna dive all of his Vikings into that vortex anyway. Ghost now trying to come out, able to get off an EMP shockwave and getting a lot of damage dealt across multiple shields. Vikings now coming in. Vikings and these Phoenixes fighting back and forth. Scanner sweep revealing these carriers doing a lot of damage to these units. Infantry full armor as well, so a lot of these carriers just continue to move out. Psystorm now stop being cast as those Archons are now currently merging, and that fight went very well for Mini. Edging out in that fight. The Terran ship plating now being researched, but that may be a little bit too little too late, as many of those Vikings, not too many as we now once again see a very large army of Vikings joining back in on this fight. Carriers in the air, Zealots and High Templars on the ground. We now see another mules just mining out from this location. So the mules were just trying to deny minerals by mining into this location. So what this is gonna do is those mules essentially have a lot of minerals in their hands, and it's going to deny Inflow Mini from being able to mine out of that location, and thus continuing to drop mules into here, forcing him to warp in Zealots to deal with those mules. So I believe that was probably a stealing of about, what is that, 30 minerals each, so probably about 300 to 500 minerals, so maybe 5 Zealots. That could have been 5 Zealots that Inflow Mini could have trained. I have never seen mules used in order to deny minerals before, but that is a very interesting strategy, especially as QXC is essentially out of minerals in his main bases. You can see a lot of command centers currently queued up. There is a lot of mules that can be called between them, and if he does another scanner sweep, would be able to just start mining out a large portion of those minerals once again. Army wise, 7,150 versus 10,000 or what, 10,300. In comes another EMP shockwave. That poor Ghost getting off a lot of EMP shockwaves so far, and now many of those interceptors are getting shot down. The orbital command center now down to 3 hit points, not even bothering to bring back an SCV. Gonna go ahead and just use a mule instead as this fight continues over here. And yes, this is just proof that I need a new video card, just in case I ever have a 10,000 versus 10,000 mineral army. So Ghost continuing to fight back and forth. Vikings in the air trying to shoot down this carrier fleet with mothership and Phoenixes. Taking a look at the units, 13 carriers, 1 mothership, 7 High Templars, 1 Colossus, and 5 Phoenixes in the air. So that's a lot of damage, and a lot of death just waiting for those carriers and these Colossi. Things are looking good for Mini, as he does have a 2,000 mineral army advantage. In come a couple more Ghosts. Ghosts, however, quickly getting taken down once again. There is, I believe, 1 observer somewhere in here, as those Vikings, I think the Vikings can just get 1 round of attack onto that mothership and perhaps be able to take it down. I do not know how much damage that is. 24, 32, 39 Vikings times 28 damage. That may be enough to simply just take down that mothership in 2 rounds of attack. Yeah, there it goes. Down goes that mothership. And with that mothership gone, the cloaking has been denied. So are we going to get another mothership train is the key question. Those mothership was able to just protect many of those air units. These carriers trying to regenerate those shields very, very badly, as it need to have those shields in order to protect themselves against those Vikings. It's just going to be a massive Ghost and Viking army. You can see that all these units are just trying to rally around one point there. Ghost once again on the move, trying to get more EMP shockwaves, perhaps get some snipes onto some units here. In comes some High Templars, no, what's it called here? In comes a couple of snipes there. Vikings able to deal a lot of damage, and now Inflow Mini in a lot of trouble once again. We do have a couple of observers, and a lot of ghosts just running straight on into Colossi. That was a very, very bad fight there. Vikings now in the air, gonna be able to shoot down many of those carriers. Carriers are just simply getting picked out of the sky, and now with no Psystorm, now finally Psystorm underneath those Vikings. Vikings are now taking too much damage, too much splash damage, and those carriers are now giving chase. Army-wise, 6,000 versus 1,650, and I think that is going to be game. QXC down to 421 minerals, and that is it. So I want to take a look at that final battle one more time. I do have a little bit of time left in this replay, so take a look at this. I hope you guys enjoyed this 53 game minute epic battle back and forth here. Gonna go ahead and keep up the army tab. So at this stage, both sides are even, and now those, however, those those ghosts running straight on in and took too much splash damage. With all of these, however, the shields have been depleted, but the Marines were just unable to do that much. The Vikings were probably focus firing, and because they were focus firing, and perhaps a lot of their Lancer torpedoes just were doing too much damage towards these carriers. Those carriers probably at most needed one round of attack between them, and that was it. So this carrier fleet with Archons, enough to finish off Root QXC. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 game between Inflow Mini and Root QXC here on Lost Temple.